Hey guys, it's Robert from Rob Diggs Gaming, and in today's video I'm going to be talking to you about my D&D minis and how I store them and organize them and some of the other things that we use when we get together to play some D&D. So I store my miniatures in these, they're actually takeout containers from a restaurant, and they're quite good because they hold quite a few, and they've got a domed lid, which means you can fit quite a few miniatures in here. And I've got these three boxes that I store things in, and each of these boxes, they've got handles on the sides to make them easy to carry. They hold 10 of these storage containers in them each, and I've got my miniatures sort of broadly divided or organized by type. So as you can see, I've got two containers here that are listed as human, elf, and dwarf warrior types, and they're mostly D&D minis. But I use any kind of miniature really that suits my purposes. So over the years, I've collected quite a few. Here, for example, is a archer from the Lord of the Rings game. It's not coming into focus very well. But in that game, the bases on the miniatures are quite wide, so I've actually popped the miniature off the base and stuck it on a Warhammer base. Just glued it on there, and it works really well for D&D. That's quite a sharp little miniature. So I've got them loosely sorted by type. Again, that's human, elf, and dwarf warrior types or martial classes, and I've got two containers of those. And I've got in here a medium-sized demon types, monsters and animal miniatures, and there's two of those. And I've got one container of medium-sized non-humans, and that's orcs and goblins and lizard folk, things like that. And then in its own container, I've got the go-to container for when I need to use a magic user, and these are all medium-sized, but they're basically miniatures that look like magic users. So it's an easy way to break those out. And I don't really care when I'm playing whether or not I'm using the exact miniature for the exact creature that I'm using in the encounter. If it's close enough, if it's an orc-looking type of creature and it sort of resembles the character, or if it's a demon or something like that, then that's the main thing. So that's why I've got these miniatures separated as broadly as I do. I've got one for medium-sized undead constructs and elementals, and then the large-size miniatures. So I've got a container here that holds large-size monsters, undead, rat swarm, things like that. And again, I'll use miniatures from any game at all. If I go into a comic book store and there's discounted miniatures there for games that aren't made anymore, I'll snatch them up. And this, for example, is from I'm not even sure what game it's from. It's called Living Ballista is the name of the miniature, and it's this centaur type creature that has a big ballista strapped to his back. So that's a pretty cool miniature, and it effectively is a huge size miniature in the D&D rules. So that works out pretty well. And I've got a container of large size giants and elementals and constructs, and one that's large-sized monsters, giants, and constructs. So just quick go-to. If I need a giant, I can pull out one of those, and that works really well. Now, as I said in another video, our gaming group hasn't always played D&D, although that's what we've been playing for the last couple of years. We've also played Star Wars and a couple of other RPGs that use minis, so we've got things that we can go to. We've got miniatures, for those games as well. Here's another example of miniatures from another game that I use in D&D. This is I'm not even sure again what game this is from, but these are mounted knights on horseback. Here's I think this is Mage Quest or Mage Knight or something. It's some kind of orcish guy on riding a buffalo, and again, the base that came with the miniature was way too big for our purposes, so I popped them off and re-glued them to a Warhammer miniature, and again, that makes this guy essentially a large size mini, and that works really well. So in this box, we're getting into modern type miniatures for when I was running a D20 version of Rifts. These are all sort of like HeroClix and other things that have miniatures that are carrying modern weapons and things like that. It can be used in a modern setting. And in that D20 Rifts game, where it's a combination of modern and a futuristic science fiction setting with fantasy, I've got a bunch of larger scale vehicles that are modern. Those were useful in that game. Here's more. These are, I guess, technically Mech Warrior miniatures that were used to represent robots in the Rifts game. And here we have more Mech Warrior, and then we have Star Wars, and this is the Wizards of the Coast line of the revised Star Wars miniatures. So we have everything there from stormtroopers to droids to Jedi, and we've got a couple of containers of those, and those saw a lot of use when that campaign was going on. 3 of those, and then we've got a container of Star Wars vehicles, and a big component of that game is the vehicle scale combat, space combat. So we have quite a few, and again, some of these are Micro Machines and any kind of old Star Wars models, board games, things like that we have over the years, and we compiled all those and used those. They were pretty effective when we were playing the Star Wars campaign. In this box, I just keep my paper models that I'm currently making, and my sets of dungeon tiles that I own. In this little toolbox, I have all of my small size miniatures. I don't have very many of these, but I've got kobolds in here and other demons and monsters here that are small sized. Odds and ends here, lizard folk and things that are small. And here we have halflings and goblins, goblin archers. And this little toolbox works well for keeping those miniatures in there. And then in the bottom of the toolbox, I keep my other huge-sized miniatures, and that works well just for toting those around. Some of the other things that we use when we are playing our game is these are little tile sets that came with, again, some other game that I have no idea what the name of is now, and these just act as quick little difficult terrain or something that needs to be thrown into a map. You can quickly toss those in there. Of course, we use a dry erase board, and dry erase markers are an important part of our game. We have these templates here, and these are wire templates that are used for representing the scale of different spells and effects that take place during the game. So you can lay this down on your gridded tabletop, and depending on the spell, I think this is the size of a fireball, for example. You can lay this on the table, and it covers and doesn't interrupt any miniatures or anything else you've got on the table, and that works really well. And you've got the 20-foot size, and then there's these 4 pieces that combine for the large spells like Entangle, and those are quite handy. I made up this form a long time ago, and this is the form that we use to keep track of initiative. And this is a double-sided form that has 4 columns on each side, and that basically represents the initiative of 4 different encounters. And on the left of each column is a number, and as the players and the NPCs and monsters roll their initiative, they get tallied up and listed, so I know with just a glance whose turn it is in the turn sequence. That's a handy little form that we use. part of my GM style is to be big on props. So any little thing that you can think of that looks cool and can be incorporated to give your players something to hang on to, you can use. And this is an old antique key I picked up on vacation once, and during one of our games, this item was something that the characters could hang on to when they discovered a key that they needed to unlock a door. I'm also big on tangibles, so we've got a couple nice maps. Found these on the internet, and these are maps of the current Palladium fantasy world that we're currently playing in. So the characters have these for quick reference, and these particular maps look cool. They look like they were, damaged or burnt, or looked like they're old, and the players really appreciate those. The last thing I wanted to talk to you about, or show you in this video, is my gaming box. And this is a box that I've had for a long time. I drew up a quick sketch of this one evening and gave it to my father, and who was a carpenter, and he put this box together for me, and I've been using it ever since. And it's just a wooden box with a frame and a couple of lids here. And inside, it's deep enough that I can stow some scrap paper and characters and notes that I need for any game session. And of course, in here I've got my copy of my 3.5 DMG. Let me just get that out of there. And then there's a couple other rule books that I'm using at the moment. And the inside is lined with felt, and so I use this to roll my dice. And in this side, I have this little piece with the 3 studs that match the 3 holes here. I set that in there like that. Fish out the lid again. So I can take the lid and fit it in the slot like that. And this is effectively my game shield. So then I can take this, and I have it on a separate table from the rest of the players, and I set this up like that, and I can take my game notes and essentially lay them up there like that, or anything I need. And I've got my area for rolling dice, and I've got my game notes, and it's an effective game shield. And in the other half are all of my dice and pencils, erasers, and anything else I might need. And these are my go-to dice and my setup for my game. So that's just a little look at the storage that we have for our minis and how we keep track of things. And love to hear your comments, feedback, how you guys handle your gaming supplies. Please subscribe, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye for now.